Hey, it's Dell Jackson. How about tonight? We got a special election night Zoom with Coach Brad Connors of ELCO. Not that election has anything to do with Coach Brad Connors, because he's an incumbent. He's going to be there at ELCO for another 10 years. So, he's got a long list, and we're really happy to get into it. It's November, and we'll start with you, Coach. Just give us a little background. I know some of your background. Give us a little bit of background with your coaching, your playing, how you wound up at ELCO.
Yeah, well, I'm an ELCO grad to start with. And so, I came back to ELCO about, 12, 13 years ago. And so I taught at McCaskey for a few years. And, a job opened up. I got a phone call. Hey, there's a job that opened up. Are you interested? And so naturally, 4 miles away from my house, took the interview. Things went well. Soon after the interview, I got a call from Mr. Bohannon, my former coach, and asked me if I'd be interested in coaching some basketball. There was a spot that opened up on the girls' side, and I said absolutely. I'd love to do it. I said, with the caveat, first anything opens up on the boys' side, I'd love an opportunity. And so, that was 2 years. I think I coached the girls for 2 years, the junior high girls for 2 years, and then things opened up on the boys' side, and it's been a a whirlwind, just awesome dream for the last 10 years.
Nice. Hey, let me ask you this: ELCO grad, who was the varsity coach when you were there?
Oh yeah, listen, my assistant right now, my JV guy, my top assistant. You know where I'm going with this, right? Wes Soto. And
I do.
Yeah.
I have some of the old books, but I'm wondering if I coached against Coach Soto in that gym up there at ELCO. We never went up at ELCO, but probably I did, Coach. We probably ran into each other in a different life, in a different style.
Listen, so it was my senior year. Coach Soto came in. That was his first year at ELCO, yeah, ever since. And listen, talk about having a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips. He's 2 doors down, and he's wise beyond his years, and I go to him all the time. So
wow, that's awesome. I got some Soto stories, but we're not going to go there right now. We're gonna talk about ELCO and what's going on, and I'll just get started. You guys, I'm assuming, are full-time in school right now. Is that correct?
Well, we started full-time, and listen, I should say this. We are on somewhat of a hybrid schedule. So we have an A-B schedule where half the student population comes in on a Monday, Tuesday. Everybody's online for Wednesday. And then the second half comes in for Thursday and Friday. And so just about a week ago, we had a few cases of COVID. Nothing really passed around in the high school, but I think, contact tracing, it was coming from outside the school. So we've been shut down, and we've been virtual for the past week. And so tomorrow will be our first day back with students.
Okay, cool.
Coming tomorrow.
So let me ask you this on a basketball front. Have you been able to get with some of your players that aren't soccer players and basketball players? Have you been allowed in the gym in the fall at all?
We have. So it's been somewhat limited, and a lot of our younger, our junior high kids, we have not. But in the high school, we've been in the gym. So what are we looking at? It's November. We've been in the gym for at least maybe a month and a half. And I have a couple kids who aren't fall sports guys, and so I've had them in the gym. The numbers are really small. That Friday night, take a look at the football field. You're going to see a bunch of basketball guys out there flying around, making plays. So, but to answer your question, we've been in the gym for a little bit.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Andy because he usually has some more specific questions. I usually have some more general questions, but Andy's probably seen you guys a lot more than I have. I've seen you a little bit in the last couple of years, and very impressed with the consistency of your program. But I'm going to turn it over to Andy right now.
I have seen you guys a lot, and if you guys go down to Philly, I'll come see you. So we can always bank on that. Hey, Coach, I just want to ask you this question. Last week, I was over at Dell's house talking about some things, and we got to talking about who really has some of the longest tenures in the league. And I don't know if you know this or not, but you're pretty high up on that list. So what I'm curious about is not how much the league has changed since you've been coaching, but what, if anything, has changed at ELCO specifically? And I say that because even when I was away at school in college, and even when I was in school at Warwick, I never really heard much about ELCO before. But obviously, for those that are familiar with the here and now, you've had some really, really nice cycles here of late. So I'm just wondering, if anything, from the start of your tenure to now, what has changed about the ELCO basketball player, if really anything at all, I guess?
Wow. I didn't know you were going to ask me something like that. But so let me start with, first of all, I really love that polo that you're wearing. You are looking
I like
really
it.
sharp tonight.
I like it too.
Yeah, listen. So here's what hasn't changed. Like Coach Soto's been there forever. So that's one thing that hasn't changed. I don't know that a lot about the players have changed. I think I think there's some there's some talent in the district, and I think there's a lot of want and desire. Um, Obviously, we've got some decent athletes, and over the last few years, I will say, listen, I've been blessed the last couple of years to have a lot of quality kids, a lot of talent. So I don't know. I don't want to say the talent necessarily, but I will definitely give a nod, and I'll go back to the Colton Lawrence days, the Caleb Bookmoyer days, the Ryan Eshelman. I mean, Mason Bossert. I mean, I've been lucky. Maybe I just came in at a really good time. We've had some, families move into the district, and maybe the basketball gods. I like to talk about the basketball gods a lot, and maybe they were just smiling, for a little bit when I took over the program. So
That's good. Sometimes it never hurts to have a higher power tapping on. Sure. Kind of along those same lines, after the game down in Philly this year, which I said to me felt eerily similar to the Goretti game, just based on the circumstances of, it was basically the end of a core group, and they played a superpower that is nationally known, not just known in the state and in Philly. And I was kind of asking you, well, what now? This is the end of 2 cycles. Are we going to take a step back, or what's it going to look like? And you were really, really high on maybe not necessarily replicating that same success tomorrow or anything like that, but you have a core group that you said you're really, really high on. And again, that was before we had massive shutdowns and everything like that. But I'm assuming you still feel that way. And if so, could you explain to that core group that is probably going to be the next 4-year group that we're going to hear about from ELCO?
Right. Listen, yeah, like we just have a group of kids, and I guess maybe it started a few years ago, who just love to work. They like to get in the gym, and so I start with that, and I just think about the young guys, and I think about even like Braden Bohannon as a young kid coming up. He's won. It didn't matter really what he does. He just wins, but he's a gym rat, and the baton just kind of passed to him, and I just see a lot of the young kids. There's a whole grade below him of just hard workers. I'm thinking about kids like Luke Williams, Cole Thomas, Reese Shuey. And then you just kind of go down each class, and then there's more and there's more. And, now the 9th grade group, there's a really nice group. And it helps once you have a few teams that kind of establish themselves. You got a couple kids that establish themselves, and, kids probably think, oh, coach is talking about Colton Lawrence again and that group. But I go back to him. I think it kind of really started with him and Mason Bossert, constantly in the gym. The day after our Colton's junior year, I think we played in a district game at East Penn. Though it was our first district game, and gosh, since I took over the program, it had to be 4 years. And the week leading up to it, the excitement, everybody in school gets sick. The entire team is sick. Colton turns his ankle, can't practice the entire week. And it was just one of those like, And then we played a really tough game, slow start. We pushed East Penn, had a really good second half. And it was the very next day. And I can remember guys, seeing guys in the hallway and talking to some of those guys, and they won it in the gym, and they had their eyes on some other teams in the county. If you go back to those Cedar Crest teams. And, that always seems to be a rivalry for my kids, even though we really don't have a rivalry with Cedar Crest. They look to them. And just since then, it's just been a constant, like, kids want to get in the gym. And yeah, I love to make myself available. Our kids are multi-sport athletes, so I'm the flexible one. I don't set the open gym. Hey, we're open gym this day and I'll be here this time. I'm usually like the kind of guy, hey, give me a call. I'll probably drop everything. I'll meet you at a playground, on a court somewhere. We'll get some work. And I just think that kind of has evolved since those years. And I think it really seems to work.
I want to go back to last year real quick. Before the season, I was really, really high on Section 4. I liked you guys a lot. Obviously, Catholic is in the mix every single year, and I like Dr. Air a lot. And you were one of the 2 teams out of the section that was able to hit the trifecta. You went to leagues, you went to districts, because you performed well in districts, you made states, obviously. But in leagues, you missed that shot in the corner off the back rim. You get bounced right away. And again, you do well in districts to make states, but then you play a superpower right away. I'm just wondering, now that you've had a chance to excel and you look at last year, better, good, worse than you thought? I mean, now you've had a chance to assess it, because you had a lot of high expectations and you hit a lot of those barometers. But I mean, what do you think about possibly going beyond what you went beyond?
Right. I think like the goal last year was, like, I can remember writing goals down on the whiteboard with the team. And, the one that stuck out to me was Jordan Fernandez, kind of an unsung, grad. And the thing that it kind of took me back, and I remember writing it on the board, was he was like, I just want to have fun every day. Like, he just wanted to just have a good experience. And I don't know why, but I remember that. I remember thinking about that thought as we were crossing the gym, walking back to our locker room in Philly that night. And I was really proud of the kids. And I think they made memories. I definitely think they made some memories. And I think we had a lot of laughs and a lot of good times. And so when I look at it from that standpoint, yeah, I think it was an awesome season. Like, what a great group. Like, there's a couple kids at the banquet. We had a banquet like March 13th, literally the day before the shutdown. And I can remember telling, some families, and one of the kids, like, such a great group, such a great kid. Like, if my daughter didn't have a boyfriend, like, I would have been ecstatic for like a kid like Ben Horst to date one of my daughter, or date my daughter. So, I just look back and think gosh, it would have been nice to win that section title, win a couple league games. We've never done that. Maybe advance in the states. But you know what? I just go back to Jordan Fernandez's statement, like, let's have fun. And man, what a winner. It was awesome. And I wouldn't trade that for the world.
I want to ask you about this year now. Obviously, you lost a lot of that core group, but you still have number 40 coming back. So that certainly helps. I'm just wondering, since he's been off doing his thing with football, and even though he is an absolute freak athletically and a great leader, is he ready to be the guy? Because all scouting report eyes are going to be solely focused on him this year.
Do you think he knows that?
I think if I know that, trust me, everybody else knows that.
Yeah. No, listen, I don't worry about that kid at all. I just don't want to mess him up. Like, even this summer, like, what day was it in July where things kind of they started lifting some things and they started allowing us in the gym. I got a phone call from him. He was on his way home from the beach. Like, he wasn't even home yet. And he asked me if we could do a workout that night. Like, if that doesn't tell you about the type of kid he is. And I want to say from that point forward, yeah, he was doing his football workouts and he was lifting weights, but after every one of those morning workouts, he was on the court with me, like with his friends. There were times where I wasn't there, he was there. And I would drive by the playground. I want to say it was really cool. I mean, it was kind of during the shutdown, but I drive by our local playground and it was packed with kids playing basketball. And as a coach, I just like, okay, this is what I wanted. This is what I was looking for. I can remember taking my wife by the courts and pointing to her and saying, check that out. Look at that. And so I don't worry about Braden whatsoever. He'll be ready. He'll be a little rusty, but he'll be ready to go come November 20th.
I wouldn't expect anything else, but I just wanted to get your take on it from the horse's mouth. So,
Yep.
Boss man, I'll throw it over to you for if you want to ask a couple.
Okay, I got 2 or 3 things here. First thing that caught me, Coach, was the goals for the team. So from a coaching standpoint, I look at it sometimes like, how do you go about setting goals? Does the team make the goals? Do you guys make the goals? Is it a collaboration? Do you write them down? How's that process at ELCO?
Yeah. Well, it starts with, I think the kids have kind of an end goal in mind, some of the things that they'd like to see, but you talk about those end goals, but I give them all sheets, and, I ask them to think about some things as individuals and as a team, and give them about 3 or 4 days to kind of, work on that. And then we come together in my classroom and we just start making our list. And I can remember, I visibly remember, at the end of the season, talking to the team about, hey, remember that list? Like that list, there might've been I think there were 2 games left in the section yet. And it still wasn't undecided. We were still right there. If you go back and you think about how things kind of shook out at the end of the season, there was an opportunity, we needed some things to happen where we could have got the section. So I just kind of remember, like, I give them the paper, they make their list, and then we kind of come together and I start writing some things down. And we just talk about the big goal. Obviously, here's some coach talk for you. The big goal is to get better every day. That's kind of on the top of the list. Keep improving and win the day. You talk about like what's important right now. And so that's kind of the approach on a day in and a day out basis. But it's neat, like hearing what the kids say and what they have to say. And that one by Jordan Fernandez just kind of like caught me off guard for a minute. But yeah, that's what we do. We'll put them on the whiteboard.
That goal should be there all the time. I mean, I sat with you guys a couple years ago, and it was a tough game, but I was very impressed with how you handled it, how the kids handled it. Things went south for a while there. And that's part of your leadership, I think. Okay. So here's the other thing. We talked off camera about elections, and you had a great story about where you voted tonight and how that impacted you and your life. Go ahead and share that with everybody. It was a great story.
Well, so normally our polling place is it's a retirement community, and because of COVID and due to the pandemic, they moved it to Myerstown Elementary School. And so Myerstown Elementary, it's not a building in the district now. It's been sold, and now it's property of the borough. But our polling place tonight was the Myerstown Gym. And I can, I just remember as a kid, vividly as a first grader, 8 a.m. standing at the locked door, waiting for long time, basketball coach here in the area, Joe Kirsch, waiting for him to open the doors so I could get in there and play in the gym. And like I told you guys before, to me, it seemed a lot bigger back then. Walking in today, it was like, it felt like a shoebox, but just a great memory walking through, the wooden backboards and like the double doors right there by the sideline. So yeah, it was just a neat walk down memory lane.
Nice. Okay. So Andy and I talk about this all the time. I don't know. I think he gets it, but I'm not sure if he gets it. I graduated from Anvil, Cleona. So I have my roots in Lancaster, roots in Anvil, and he kind of knows where I'm going with this. Is there a Lebanon Lancaster thing going on in the LL? Is that gone, or how is there still some undercurrent with Lebanon guys going to play a Lancaster guy?
Like Lebanon versus Lancaster guys, or like Lebanon
guys?
Oh
yeah, your team. When you come south, when you cross that line right there, there's that line right there, the turnpike right there, maybe a little bit above the turnpike. But when you come past that on 72, you're in Lancaster County. When the Lancaster teams go north past the turnpike, they know they're in Lebanon County. So I guess I want to know, is there still a thing? It's like, it's like, we're going to go, this is important for us because there's a Lebanon Daily and there's the Lancaster newspaper and blah, 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 blah.
We know when we're heading down 501, we know that wherever we're going, you know, whoever we're playing, whatever school we face, we know it's going to be a battle. And, you know, I don't know if guys are thinking about they've got the Lebanon County rep on the line or not, but I know that they all know when we're heading down 501, it's going to be a battle.
Nice. Hey, back in the old days, I was working on your schedule today, and I played back in the old days when we played at Anvil. We played all the Lebanon County teams. Now, I was looking at your schedule. What Lebanon County teams don't you play this year on the schedule?
Right. Well, so we're tipping off in the Lebanon tournament, and so we're tipping with Redland. So that tournament would be the one opportunity where we would get to play Lebanon. The last couple of years, Cedar Crest has been in that tournament. However, they dropped out. I'm not sure what they're doing right now. So obviously you look north and you've got Northern Lebanon, you know, that's something you always kind of look and see, okay, when are we playing NL? What night is that? And you know, that's usually a really fun night. So Anvil, yeah, you know what? It caught me off guard with that. I'm pretty sure Anvil's on our schedule this year.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, we're playing Anvil.
I think I wrote that in there today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So for the public schools, I mean, I guess, you know, Crest is out of the question, but possibly Lebanon. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. I know I covered. I saw you guys play. I think it was Crest last year. Was that Crest in the finals that you had? It was just a great game, and I think the year before you had a great game with Lebanon up there too. So that's a good tournament for you guys to get a feel for where you're at and good competition.
I love it. I love that tournament. You know, we've talked before about maybe, you know, trying somewhere else or something different, but like there's nothing like playing like a couple miles away from home. Nothing like playing against kids that you see all summer long. You get that local flair, and listen, the competition, like I just feel like that just gets us ready. And if you look back over the last couple of years, we've had some really nice wins in that first week following that tournament. Yeah. And I always go back to that tournament. I just think it gets us ready. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're back in it and looking forward to it.
All right, I got one more last question before I flip it back to Andy. So I've coached in that gym. I've played in that gym. What are you gonna do for crowd noise this year, Coach? I mean, you know, the bleachers are gonna be empty up there. I was like, you're gonna pump in stuff. I mean, well, what's the game plan?
Yeah, we'll have to talk to the Fox 43, the broadcast for these NFL games, because that's the one channel like all you hear is the crowd noise right now. So, yeah. You know, we're just gonna have to make our own energy, I guess, and we always talk about that, but it's definitely gonna be a little different this year.
Well, I know a lot of schools are live streaming and doing their own thing. LO Hoop's going to try to do some live streaming, and we'll see if you're on the schedule. But I got a strange feeling that we will see the Raiders this year. Definitely.
We certainly hope so.
I don't want to jinx you, but you haven't won anytime we've been there. I don't want to jinx you, so maybe you don't want to say, I got a T-shirt for you. It's like, Coach, I got a T-shirt, and it's like, shoo, out the door he goes.
You know what? You know, I didn't think of that, Dell, but you know, maybe now I got to give that some thought.
Well, I mean, maybe you got to wear that LO Hoops mask I sent you. Maybe that'll give you a little help there.
No, we're gonna break.
From the LO Hoops gods. You know what I'm saying? Not the basketball gods, but from the LO Hoops gods.
Yeah, nah, that's not a jinx. I'm not buying into that jinx. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Good. All right, Andy, what you got, buddy?
All right. This kind of goes back to my last question, but both times I've seen you guys in states down in Philly, I've been sitting around people that were local down there, and they had no idea what ELCO even stood for. They didn't know where it was on a map. Somebody was like, well, it's close to Lancaster County. So I know our audience knows ELCO, but just explain, I guess, what if somebody on a statewide level or even a district level that isn't as familiar with ELCO, what are they getting when they play the Raiders head up? What should they expect from an ELCO Raider basketball team?
Listen, I'd love to ask you that question. How would you answer that question?
That's the way you do it, Coach. Turn it around on him. Go ahead. That's good. I like it a lot.
If you want me to go on both the good teams, like the last two, Colton's going to be dunking on everybody. So is Asher. Mason's going to be hitting threes. So is Huey and Coletti and everybody else. So that's what I would suggest. And then you also copied Cedar Crest copied you with the spread out offense.
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys to.
No, we copied them. We copied.
Okay. All right. That's what I would say. But what would you say?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, of course, I'm always thinking about the defensive side. I would like to say, well, they're going to play a really good defensive team, but I don't know that Colton's team played really good defense. So I don't know if I can, and I tease them about that all the time too. But yeah, I think you got to worry about us as shooters. I love shooters, and I think that's going to be something you got to think about. But the state games, traditionally we don't play a lot of zone, but if you go back to those state games, we definitely mixed in some zone. So maybe on that level, you might see a little bit of a zone. You're going to see maybe a combination of defenses. But I think you look at those two teams, I think we got quality guards, kids that can handle the pressure, kids that are, will lock arms with one another and will battle and they'll lean on each other. And I think that's what you're going to see with us. You're going to see a team that kind of has each other's backs and, we'll work together and play till the whistle, play to the end of the game.
This just thought triggered a thought in my mind, but I just said his name last, but Asher. Yeah. I saw he's now playing post grad and everything like that. Just for the folks that don't really know his story, just talk to his meteoric rise. Because when I saw him a couple of years ago, I kind of saw like this raw, kind of shy kid. Yeah. Now he's playing past ELCO, and I don't know if a lot of people saw that. I mean, maybe a few did, but and the other thing too with him, I want to share this, but I don't know if you saw this in the hallway there at Lincoln High after the game, but he came over to me, was like, "Hey, listen, I appreciate what you guys do. I'd love to, get into what you guys do as far as media stuff like that." And it really caught me off guard in a fantastic way. It's like, that to me, that really speaks to what our vision is and hyping these kids up and them noticing and them reciprocating. And I really haven't had anyone do that. So that just speaks to his character, but I digress. But I mean, just talk about Asher, the player, obviously, and then also the person that comes along with that and how well he's really been doing right now.
Listen, he's a character, and you put him in front of a camera and it's like something just clicks. Like, he is phenomenal. So, as a player, I go back to his 8th grade year. I can remember that, spring of his 8th grade year, he's in the weight room and he's running around with a bunch of wrestling guys. He's lifting with the wrestlers. And I can remember looking around thinking there's no way this kid's going to be wrestling. Like, there's just no chance. Like, and he was like shoulder to shoulder with all of them. And, I was a little bit worried about that, Andy, that first spring, but, we got him back in the fold. And I mean, that kid is he is a gym rat. Like, he's the kind of kid he'll call. I got text messages on Saturday nights at 7:30. Coach, what are you doing? Can we get somewhere? Can we do something? I laugh about it. My wife laughs about it too, because she knows I probably take the call and probably head out for at least an hour, but, just a gym rat. And I don't know, like, those first 2 years, he was kind of like, well, he's a big kid. Let's think about maybe back to the basket. And, we did that with him. And I don't know that he ever really was comfortable with that. And then we were playing in a fall game at Nook. It was in the fall, might've been his junior year. And, of course we're missing a couple guys because of football, and we put him out in the perimeter, and we were playing, it might've been Dallastown. It was somebody decent, somebody who, we were a little bit concerned about that night. And he scored like the first 11 points facing up. He was hitting threes, pulling up at the elbow. And I just remember looking back and thinking, like, what by sheer luck, we found something. And, so junior year, we gave him a little bit on the perimeter, and then he loved it. So if you watched anything on Saturday, I mean, it looks like that's what he's going to be doing at Fork Union. So yeah, great kid too. Love him. Before he left for Fork Union, stopped by the house, came in, gave my wife a big hug, wanted to see my son Jack, say goodbye. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I haven't had too many kids do that. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Boss man.
Oh man, that's a great story. Now, You know, Andy, how much we pay here at LO Hoops, so he might be a really good guy to get for a while before he gets into it for big time. You know what I'm saying? Like over his break or something. We'll get him to stick a microphone in coach's mouth after a game, after a win, of course, and we'll go from there. Hey, we got to wrap up here. I really appreciate Coach Connors, and your enthusiasm comes through on this screen. So maybe one day, you know, I can go up and watch one of your practices and I'll probably get excited and, you know, tell you some Wes Soto stories. And I do, to wrap up there, I do have a really quick one and not necessarily about Wes. My brother works down at Duke and I had an opportunity to go down there. My first year down there, I got my camera and I'm taking pictures and I put a picture of a cheerleader up on the website. And I'm there like, okay, you know, and I get this email from a parent and I'm like, oh, you know, it's like, am I in trouble because I got a picture of this cheerleader? And it was Soto's sister who graduated from Duke down there. She wound up marrying one of my brother's assistants. It was incredible. You know, it was one of those, like, you just never know. So anyway, that's my quick story, but we really appreciate you. Thank you for all you do for us to, you know, to give us information and I enjoy watching your teams play and I know Andy does. And we're hoping everybody does what they're supposed to do and we get a full season in because I've been typing in and it's 23 for everybody. So let's just keep doing the good work. Andy, got anything else?
No, I don't. Just tell Coach Soto I said hello and tell Bo we said hello and we hope we'll see him here sooner rather than later.
All right, cool. Thank you, Coach.
Will do. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet,
Thanks,
buddy.
Coach.
All right, good night.
Night.